Big lofty promises, failed game. More big lofty promises, another failed game. But is this the game that will redeem them? Hello there, strategy gamers, and welcome to my humble channel where I talk all things strategy games. Today, let's talk about Peter Molyneux. Yes, he is back at it again. Masters of Albion is his new game, and is this another classic Molyneux moment of promises that can't be kept? While Peter Molyneux has always been associated with the God Games genre, having been attributed as having created it, or maybe more accurately, popularizing it with, well, Populous, and then with the highly ambitious Black and White with Lionhead Studios, I would say his most successful game series was not strategy but RPG with the Fable series, most successful in terms of mainstream appeal. And I'd say his last good game was Fable 2, which was way back in 2008. Honestly, for me, I think Peter Molyneux's best game was Dungeon Keeper back in the day from his Bullfrog days. That was simply sublime. And while I fondly remember flinging poo in black and white and trying to train my giant animal AI some basic action, Black and White wasn't really a great game, a legendary game, but noteworthy though for introducing some rather neat mechanics. It was hyping all about AI before this current AI slop nonsense that we have today. Maybe it wasn't the best game out there, but you can definitely say it was a great conversation starter. Like, hey, I got my giant cow addicted to eating my villagers and it became an evil monstrosity kind of conversations in the water cooler. Not forgetting his team also did that unique management game, The Movies, which until very recently had nothing quite like it. His more recent projects were nothing more than dumpster fires, like the disastrous Godus, which was supposed to harken back to the good old board game days. But, well, the less said about it, the better. The game deserves a video of its own, and yes, we need to remember this as we look into this new game, Masters of Albion. Peter Molyneux has promised the sky, games that break new ground, revolutionary even. But the final results tend to be much lower in hitting his own mark. And yes, someone has asked him straight to his face if he was a pathological liar, which I think is a bit much. So, with all that being said though, what is Masters of Albion? Actually, it's a bit of many different games from his past melded, or rather Frankenstein, into something I think we are all familiar with, especially with the popularity of the survival city builders. And while actually the game looks like a city builder, you build your town and stuff, and there is a lot of customization bits here. It's a bit more than that though. There's a cursor in the shape of a hand, which is obviously a throwback to Black and White and Dungeon Keeper, which is nice. There's even a bit of a business sim in it apparently, something from Molyneux's failed NFT game called Legacy. You have factions in this game and you need to build production chains to manufacture stuff for them and make money supplying them this stuff, which is rather odd. I mean, in a city builder, and production chains are common if you look at a city builder like Anno for instance, but selling items and making money for profit. And then you have the survival bit where you need to defend the town at night, hiring heroes, building turrets, even upgrading your god hand bows, which can inflict devastating spells like lightning and flamethrower and more. Yes, very much Black and White inspired, and a bit of Dungeon Keeper with a possession mechanic. Mixed with, maybe you could say, tower defense, although I've not seen much about the tower defense part of it in this game, and definitely very like hero management type of strategy game. But that's the thing, I mean, the question I have is, who exactly are you, the player? Are you the mayor or founder, or are you a business person just trying to make a buck in this town that you built, or are you actually God in this game? This wasn't quite as clear cut as it was in his previous games, and And I feel like, is this game suffering a sort of early stage identity crisis here? I mean, sure, the futures all sound cool on paper, but just going through all these lists of things about the game made me think, uh, is this just going to end up being one jumbled mess of a game? This is not about going back to the foundations, this is a pretty challenging game to design with so many elements, not an easy feat. So I don't think Masters of Albion is them working with a clean slate here. There is a lot of baggage, or rather ideas from their past games that's brought forward into this game. So the question is, do they all make sense? Do they work well in a single cohesive fun game? And that is the challenge, and I think it's going to have a pretty challenging early access that might have the team maybe questioning their design decisions. I mean, despite Peter Molyneux claiming that the game will release in early access as a more whole and almost complete game rather than a raw unfinished mess like Godus. But hey, that's his claim. And you know what? He says may not hold such weight. And the reaction online has been a whole load of skepticism, which is to be expected really. The whole discussion online centered around the failure of Godus, and remember, Godus was a Kickstarter game and they even failed to live up to their initial Kickstarter idea and had to scale back certain mechanics, so there's understandably a huge trust deficit, at least for those in the know. So while Peter Molyneux isn't calling this a game to redeem what he has lost, it is indeed a redemption quest regardless of what he says. To make a great game on the platforms that gamers care about. None of that Web3 or free-to-play nonsense, just good old strategy game here. But the proof will indeed be in the pudding, and I'm still holding out on them actually making the game they say they're making that one great game Molyneux always wanted. Anyway, tell me in the comments what you thought about the Masters of Albion announcement. I know it's like a month ago or something, but I'm getting used to these news now, and I think that's a noteworthy news to talk about. And would you give this game a shot when it's out in early access? Tell me in the comment. And if you like this video, by the way, give it a like. Just hit that like button and subscribe if you want more of these sort of videos. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. By the way, check out this video I did about Paradox Interactive and how they may not be the strategy game company that maybe we can't really trust them these days. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.